shall we talk about the good stuff?
Sure, bring it on.
We had MJF. We'll be hearing from him after his loss from Jericho. So he makes his entrance with Wardlow, and the crowd are chanting, "You tapped out." Really good shit here, and he's really playing off to the crowd. And from the bat, he says that he has beaten Jericho in the past, before the pay-per-view. So kind of simmers that situation like that. Like, yeah, he was 3-0 against Jericho before the pay-per-view, and that situation is now over, and he wants to move on. And from there, he started shitting on Cincinnati and called them Cincinnati and calls everything.
Cincinnati.
Yeah,
Cincinnati.
and says that everything here in Cincinnati is mid, like everything. So he kind of shitting on the Cincinnati crowd here, and then he notices Linda, who is Brian Pillman's aunt. Like even Punk mentioned her earlier on the show. So he was talking a little shit to Linda. He said, "Don't make eye contact with me, or I will knock the teeth down your throat." And then he notices Brian Pillman's sister when he calls her 16.
Junior, by the way.
Yes, Brian Pillman Jr. Sister, and he calls her 16 and pregnant. And he's
firing all the cylinders. And firing all the shots.
And then he decided to go face to face with Pillman's sister, and he kind of gave some mic time to her. She said that she is the daughter of the loose cannon, Brian Pillman, and the crowd goes nuts for that one. We hear Pillman chants, and MJF kind of in a carny way said that then it makes sense with looking at your facial looks, something like that. He's off the bat firing on all cylinders, like you said. And then we get to Brian Pillman Jr. coming out. He gets a kind of a big reaction, and he's really playing off to the crowd. He decided, let's be cool. It's nothing usual. I have dealt with this shit my entire life, so I took it in that manner. Or he could have charged the ring and started beating up MJF from the get-go, right? So it made little sense. So Brian Pillman is trying to put over the Cincinnati crowd, like everyone from here is badasses. For example, Brian Pillman, his dad, John Moxley, etc., etc. And then MJF kind of questions, "Are you challenging me on the mic?" Like, yeah, like MJF, I have to say, MJF was overshadowing Brian Pillman. Brian Pillman tried his best, but MJF was on some god level here on the mic. So then he mentions Brian Pillman's mother. What's her name? Melanie, and called her Methany. And this led Pillman to jump the ring. Get into the ring and go face to face with MJF. But here comes Wardlow, and MJF encourages Wardlow, push him back, just tell and help me. Sorry. He was he kind of took a shot against Wardlow. Help me. Like anyone pointed out that he didn't help him actually.
Are you going to?
Help
me the same? Yeah. Are you going to help me the same way you helped me at Sunday? And then he's like, go stand at the corner and look pretty. And then Wardlow just stands like facing the crowd. He's just there, and just Pillman just beats the crap out of So they are sowing the seeds of an eventual MJF Wardlow breakup, and then Pillman just beats the shit. Pillman Jr., I should say, beats the shit out of MJF, and then Wardlow just stands there for a while and then decides to help at a delay. And then he just takes Pillman Jr. to the corner, and then Pillman Jr. just runs under him and then beats MJF to another corner. So they are sowing the seeds for MJF and a Wardlow breakup. People have been comparing this duo or this partnership to, and Wardlow himself to Batista. So the breakup, eventually when it happens, it's going to be huge. Wardlow could probably get over as a babyface, this giant babyface who was a badass. So there is a lot of potential in that. But coming back to this, so Pillman Jr. is going apeshit at MJF, and then Wardlow decides to help him, just hits him with a German suplex for his troubles. And after that, like both MJF and Wardlow have beating down Pillman Jr. until Griff Garrison shows up, and then he gets put out for his troubles. Then MJF hits him with the ring, the diamond ring, and then then they escape. So boy, it was a wild segment, like throughout, from start to finish. Like it was all over the place,
You can
going
call
from MJF.
you can call it cheap heat, but we were not ready for a live assassination on national television.
Yes, it was for me personally, coming off the Dark Side of the Ring documentary, having watched that, to getting to this promo, it was uncomfortable for me to watch. But again, they must have agreed backstage to, like, get over these lines, and, like, have this to make it look as legit as possible. And fair play to them, they did their job pretty well. Got got both of these guys over, especially Pillman Jr. I mean, the crowd was mental. The crowd was like eating up whatever he was saying. That doesn't get any bigger than that for him. He's someone who's coming up the ranks as a babyface himself. And excuse me. So yeah, the crowd is going bananas for him, whatever, every word he speaks. And MJF is like the most detestable heel in wrestling. You have a babyface to counter him. It's this guy in his hometown, bigging up himself, bigging up his hometown again, putting over, like, bringing up guys like his own dad, who's a legend, and John Moxley, who's also becoming a legend. So it ticked all the right boxes for everyone involved. And so they announced later on, when Griff Garrison was attended to by the medical staff, and Pillman Jr. just talks to the camera and says that I have spoken to Tony Khan, and we are going to have a match at Arthur Ashe with MJF versus Pillman Jr. So as someone who gained like a hell of an amount of momentum from this promo alone, and getting to wrestle in front of 25,000 people and that capacity, and a match at such a with such a real build, I should say, it doesn't get any better than that for him personally. And it's good to see that they're investing their stocks into a new star, and he's coming up the ranks, and someone who's going to be a bigger player for them in the near future. So fair play to everyone involved. And like kudos to everyone involved, and, like, fair play. So that, and there's another small tidbit, that while this segment was going on in the medical room, we see the Acclaimed return to Dynamite. And then Max Caster is like, you've spoken about the match at Arthur Ashe. Well, I politicked to Tony Khan to get a match one-on-one on this upcoming Rampage. And then he gives him a bunch of flowers, and then Pillman Jr. just throws it. So it was a wild night for Pillman Jr., and in more good ways than bad. So awesome stuff.
So we in at least we are getting the Acclaimed on Rampage this week.
Yes, they made their return on Dark this past week, and like things have been sour for Max Caster ever since he cut that promo which got him suspended. And after that, they cut this promo where like they are trying to rap, but then it is approved by Tony Khan, it is approved by the management, and then they are just like, watch Roads to the top. Yeah, what's the show's name for Cody Rhodes?
Roads to the top.
Yes, watch Roads to the Top, watch TNT, enjoy your Dynamite, Dark, and Elevation. So it was a hilarious spin on that. But again, like after that promo, it's weird. It's weird to see, if I were to root for Max Caster, it's not going to be the same feeling as it was before he cut the promo. So it's kind of weird for me personally. But I'm looking forward to this.
Uh,
Pillman Jr. has to win to build momentum for his match with MJF.
Max Caster is still Max Caster. I'm gonna love him anyway, and he's
He's
gold.
hilarious. He's
He's
hilarious. Like totally.
Uh,
Like he also got over on his own with such a gimmick. So fair play to that. But let's see what happens.
Did you hear MJF, Tony Khan's words from the media scrum that MJF actually pitched guys like Chris Statlander, the Acclaimed, and someone else. I think I don't know who exactly, but he was actually pitching these guys to brought attention to Tony. Look at these guys, feature them on television, and he did. And
Yeah.
see where these guys are now. Look at how
I
Chris
think
Statlander has improved. Look at how Acclaimed are now mega over right now.
Yes, I think that clearly explains explains the Twitter exchanges between Max Caster and MJF. I think that explains it now because
You
Max
need another
Caster,
explanation. You need another explanation. MJF, Chris Statlander, and at least Max Caster are the students.
yeah, they are of Kurt Hawkins.
Yes, so kind of makes sense.
I knew about MJF and Statlander. I didn't know about Caster was also trained by Kurt Hawkins.
Caster was
And
also trained by Hawkins and Ryder.
No, it wasn't Ryder. It's Pat Buck from who's the producer in WWE currently.
Yes. So there you go, man.
Yeah.
And that's
Awesome
why
stuff.
Max Caster seems for MJF on Twitter, I guess.
Yeah, probably.
But speaking about this Pillman MJF thing, it's going to be good. And in a way, MJF put over Brian Pillman here.
He did.
Like
Clearly
now,
did. Like if the crowd weren't enough to put him over, MJF certainly did. So that's awesome.
Now he's telling us that Brian Pillman is someone to look forward to.
Yes. And they also had a feud in MLW where both of them were part of different stables. So Pillman Jr. was part of the New Foundation rather, and MJF had his own stable called the Dynasty with Richard Holiday, and I think it was Alex Hammerstone. I don't remember. But yeah, MJF was leading a stable. Pillman Jr. was a part of it, and they had a similar feud over there. So it's just revisiting it at a more global stage. Great. No matter who you are, our future is